information. Today's just gonna be a face cam. I was cruising around YouTube today and I found a very interesting video. It basically said, why do we classify Japanese RPGs as JRPGs when they are essentially just RPGs like any other RPG around the world? Well, there's a very simple answer to this. The culture is different. That's why we classify it differently. If you go over to Asian culture, their drawings will be different, their belief system will be different, their myths will be different, their culture will be different, everything will be different. So if everything will be different, not only are you saying that it's a JRPG made in Japan, but you're saying it's a JRPG that will follow the customs and belief system and the belief structure and the creative structure of the Japanese developer. You're basically saying this is a Japanese game that follows a lot of Japanese myth or a lot of Japanese storytelling. If you were to classify every RPG as just an RPG, you wouldn't know where to go for your anime art style. You wouldn't know where to go for the culture. You know what I'm saying? They have festivals and culture and all this other stuff, and if you notice, a lot of their games have their stamp on it. The problem with the US, right now, our game devs don't have an identity. You have a few game devs in the US that have their own identity, but very, very few. So it's kind of like a mishmash of all these different devs that basically create the same types of things. Because their ideas are the same, because their thought processes are the same, because they grew up in the culture that you and I, in the US or Canada or Western civilization, is growing up in now. But the Japanese and Asian cultures are different in the way they think, in the way they view things, in the way they do stuff. Perfect example, Westerners. The guy is the person that has to initiate conversation. The guy is the person that has to go up and talk to a woman in club. The guy is the one that has to initiate the interaction over here in Western civilization. In Japanese and Asian cultures, that's not necessarily true, especially in Korea. In Korea, it is seen as rude for the man to go up to the woman and ask for her number. It's up to the woman to initiate that circumstance in Korea. But see, people don't want to do the research. They have Google, they have these search engines to actually look at these games and see the differences. Look at Dragon Age and look at Disgaea. Or look at Dragon Age and look at any of the Tales games. Or Final Fantasy. And tell me they're the same. In art style, in drawing, in myth, in the content that's put into the game, tell me they're the same. They're not. Japanese RPGs have better storytelling. Japanese RPGs have better traditional RPG elements. Japanese games have better overall gameplay. But if we didn't know, and every single thing was classified as an RPG, how would I find what I'm looking for? How would I find it? If every RPG was classified the same way, how would I find what I'm looking for? I would have to go through a big pool of things, going down the list, hoping that I find something. But if you put JRPG on the end, you'll be like, oh, that's probably anime art style, that's probably not photorealistic, more turn-based combat, that's probably a better story overall, or a cultured story. That's the difference. They're not us. That's why they shouldn't be classified as us. They should have their own thing. It's a JRPG, and I love JRPGs. In fact, I'm one of the few YouTubers that actually has JRPG content on his channel. Not just the popular JRPGs, but also the unpopular ones. So you're talking to a guy who's been involved in Japanese, Korean culture for a while. My sister taught herself Japanese. She draws anime. She went to Japan to try to become an anime creator, which is really hard, by the way, for a US person to do. But the style is different. Dragons and fighting within yourself and culture and myth and everything is different in a JRPG from a Western RPG. Even the smallest minute details are different if you actually pay attention. Why do you think Capcom's Resident Evil is so different from other zombie games. Storyline-wise, character model-wise, that's why it's classified that way. So the people who want to relate with that mindset, or people who like that mindset, or people who like those types of games can go get those types of games. It's that simple. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. This is Zero. Keep gaming, gamers. And I will see all of you guys and gals next time.